Conspiracy theory: San Diego sent the Chargers packing so that 2 years later they could purchase Blake Snell. Check it.
Okay, nice
Hold
conspiracy
the
theory.
Chargers for Blake Snell and Yu Darvish.
They're like, yeah, we want to be a baseball town, so
Yeah, get out of here.
Build you a new
Hey!
stadium.
Yeah.
We're planning on signing some free agents later.
yeah, like 3 years
Sorry.
later.
We actually want you to share a stadium with another team. Good luck with that.
We're actually going to start charging you more money to play here. So.
If you were San Diego, would you rather have Phillip Rivers or Yu Darvish and Blake Snell? I mean, it's just
Well,
who would you have?
yeah, Phillip Rivers for that long after that. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another beautiful episode of the BOTA Show. I'm going to be your host today, El Sog, Soggy Boy, the Sog Meister, Sog Master, Master of Sog, many names I have. With me today, I have Mr. Drew Chains, Double D, down to Drew, whatever. And I have Chris. He's Chris.
No,
Let's
thank you.
As you can so beautifully see, we are all wearing, except for Chris, our BOTA jerseys, guys. Just check, appreciate the BOTA merch. Also, you know what? Appreciate Chris's jersey too, because those are some pretty fire jerseys, NGL. But
And
just
they're hella
appreciate the merch.
expensive.
Just want to do a quick shout out before we even start the show. Check out our merch on Teespring, please. We have a couple different designs. It's really not that expensive. If you want to support us, like just pop in the store, take a look at what we got. We got some cool designs. I'm going to be working on a master design, master ring, one to rule them all kind of thing like that. All right. It's going to happen. I want to make like a really cool design. That was the whole point. But anyway,
Just check it out. There's amazing stuff on there.
Check it out. Let's start our first segment of the day, the BOTA News. This is where James are coming. That's news. All right, let's start our BOTA News today with NFL, the only NFL in our hearts. I mean, there is just so much news to break down. It's ridiculous at this point. I mean, we've had, just so many things happen in the NFL. The franchise tag deadline came and went. The
Just
salary
this week.
cap. No,
Just
just
this week
exactly.
there's
Just
been-
this week. I mean, this is just this week's recap. The franchise tag deadline came and went. Like I said, salary cap was set. A ton of moves, like restructuring contracts, all that kind of stuff happened. Players were released, players were re-signed, players were just signed for free agency, players retired. Like, we have a ton to go for. So let's start right at the top. Franchise tag deadline. The most notable players that were tagged were, and not limited to, but including Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin, Leonard Williams, Brandon Scherf, Taylor Morton, and I can continue. I think there's like 2 or 3 more. I know Marcus Williams is one, and there's a couple other. But does anyone kind of see anyone in there that doesn't end up staying on the team that they got tagged by?
Allen Robinson.
Yeah, I kind of, that was kind of a softball, like meatball right down the middle. Yeah.
I saw Drew jumping for it. I had to jump in.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, talk about it. Why do you think that?
He's very vocal about his disapproval with the team. He's been wanting out for 2 years now, I believe. I mean, it's more than that, but vocal about it. And he literally came out and just said, yeah, I'm not going to sign that franchise tag. So, and
Well, that's the thing, though. He actually did, in fact, sign he signed it.
Did he?
Has been franchise tag.
He has been you see, the thing about a franchise tag is you don't have to sign it. You're
I know,
still
but
tagged.
you have to sign a contract still, so they still have to.
No, you don't. No, if you're franchise tagged, you play under the team's franchise tag. They can say, "We tagged you. We're gonna pay. We have to pay you this. We're willing to pay you what the franchise tag says we pay you." But the whole point about a franchise tag is that every time you do it, the price goes up. So I know I was looking at obviously with Dak getting that new contract, which is going to come later, but with his, if he was franchise tagged again, they would have had to most likely pay him more than what he would have made. I guess AAV really, but
Well,
he
yeah,
got more money in the long run.
Well, it's just because, every year the average salary of the top 15 players at any given position goes up.
Goes up every year. Well, no, exactly, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's why the salary cap goes up every time you use it. But
right, exactly. But the thing about the franchise tag that players don't like is it's only a 1-year deal, and you know how much money you're gonna get. That's the thing. Like, there's no room for incentives. There's no room for anything. This is what you get. That's it.
Well,
right
here I'm on Bleacher Report right now, and it says Robinson is under no obligation to join the Bears until he signs the tag.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he was tagged. Therefore,
yeah. I mean, we understand that he was tagged, but he
mean?
can sit out all the off-season training programs, OTAs. He can sit out everything to the point where he gets fined, where they release him.
He can, but I mean, like, I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. Like, it's not like a situation where it's Deshaun Watson. That is 130% a different situation. Allen Robinson has played with honestly terrible quarterbacks his entire career. And yeah, I get it. He's pissed. He doesn't want to play. That's fine. But at the end of the day, I think he's going to play. I think he's going to sign the franchise tag. And I don't think he's going to end up staying with the Bears. I'm sure they'll trade him if he's that disgruntled. But yeah, no, it's not a situation like Deshaun Watson where Deshaun Watson will not play for the Texans ever again. No matter how many moves they get, no matter if they sign, traded for, obviously we're going to get to this, but Marcus Cannon, they sign, oh crap, who did they get? Mark Ingram. They signed Mark Ingram, another running back. That's still not something that he needs. Like, he's already expressed that he's done. Allen Robinson is different. I still think he'll play. I think that he's willing to play until he gets the opportunity to get moved. Is the difference there, I think.
I disagree with that, though.
I mean, we'll have to wait and see, but
exactly. We'll have to wait and see, but he's been vocal about how he's already asked for a trade. He does not want to play for that team. He has zero plans, quote unquote, to sign that franchise tag and play again this season for the Bears.
But you also have to think about it like this. He was about to be a free agent, Chris, and this is the only way that they can get something out of Allen Robinson and not let him walk. So you also have to think about it like that too. You know what I mean? Like, these other franchise tag players are players that the teams really want to keep. I really don't think Allen Robinson or the Bears are looking to stay mutual. So I think that it's only a matter of time before he gets traded. But I think push comes to shove, he plays. I think if he doesn't get traded before the season, he at least plays. But again, like I said, we'll see what that.
We'll have to wait and see. Yeah.
Yeah.
We just have to wait and see.
But, a ton of notable players do get franchise tagged. A couple of high-profile offensive linemen as well. Obviously, Brandon Sheriff and Taylor Morton, we had already said. And then, obviously, with, like the likes of Marcus Cannon getting traded and Trent Brown coming back to the Patriots, I think was this week or the previous week? I forget. It was within the last 2 weeks, but a lot of high-profile offensive linemen have been shifting. Obviously, more things to come when we talk about cuts. Big name offensive linemen getting cut as well. So, but the salary cap has been finally set. It was set Wednesday, I believe. $182.5 million, which is, I think, like $14 million less than last year. I know last year was like 195 or 6, I believe. I didn't write this down. That's my fault. But so, I mean, a lot of these moves, restructuring, all that kind of stuff is coming due to the fact that teams knew it was going to be less than last year. I'm sure they had a ballpark, but they probably didn't know the exact amount. But yeah, a ton of moves have been made to free up cap space. I mean, just look at the flurry of moves, like teams like the Saints, who are in cap space hell. Obviously, I think they're going to be a lot better off now that Drew Brees' contract is off the books. So,
which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Again, we'll talk. Yeah, but
also, Zach, not to cut you off. 2020 NFL's salary cap was 198.2 million in 2020.
So it went down. It went down more than I thought. Yeah, it went down about 16 million.
This is lower than 2019 too.
What is?
This year's salary cap.
Well, I mean, we expected that because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, that it's a plausible thing. So, and that's the thing too, is that all these teams are restructuring deals in the fact that like they're putting a lot more money up front. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. They're putting a lot more money on the back end of deals, or putting deals that are voidable after the first year, like Taysom Hill's 4-year, like $140 million extension, which was so stupid. Brady, Mahomes, Christian McCaffrey, like a ton of stars are restructuring deals because they know that they physically can't stay with teams, or their teams can't do anything, if the salary cap has gone down, at least $16 million. I mean, that is that's no joke. Like $16 million a year. That's a Matt Milano. That's an Aaron Jones, So
we are seeing a lot of signing bonuses too, like high end.
Well, that's the thing, is that doesn't count towards the cap.
Yep,
so that's
exactly
why they're doing that.
Plus a lot of incentive lead contracts, which again saves you that cap room. So you set a low incentive, these players easily hit it, not easily, but they put in their work and they still earn what they want without affecting that cap space.
Right, but also the restructuring also helps for further years too, only because if God forbid next year the cap goes back up to almost $200 million, you can re-sign a guy like, I don't know, Eric Fisher, who just got cut by the Chiefs. So, with that being said, there were a ton of players that were, salary cap casualties, and not like, it's like Adrian Claiborne or whatever. I mean, like, yeah, whatever, he's okay. But like John Brown was cut by the Bills. Eric Fisher, I mean, that's a big name offensive lineman, and he was the first overall pick in 2013. Now, is he still the same? Is he still worth the same as he was before? God, no. I mean, that just happens with time. But he was with the Chiefs for his entire career up to this point. Still a really good offensive lineman. Janoris Jenkins, Malcolm Butler, LaMarcus Joyner, Casey Hayward. I mean, those are big names. Those are names that, if you're a standard NFL fan, you probably know those names, especially Casey Hayward. I mean, not for nothing, Casey Hayward was probably the best cornerback in the league 5 years ago. So
I don't know about that.
Maybe a little bit longer, but
I don't know if Casey Hayward was ever one of the best.
I would like to argue he was probably one of the top 5 cornerbacks for a good 3 years. But then he had a lot of injury problems. And
I don't know if he was top 5 for that long.
All right.
Whatever. That's besides the point. But I mean, you can at least agree you can at least agree that Casey Hayward's a name that, like, pretty much most people would know, right?
I guess, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you really want to go for it, but I mean, there have just been so many different things going on with almost every player. The restructuring, the cuts, and obviously we're going to get to either signings or re-signings, which most of these are re-signs. But we did have multiple players retire this weekend, and not just like standard run-of-the-mill players. I'm talking like generational players retired. We'll start off with the Panthers. They had Greg Olsen and Thomas Davis. Well, Greg Olsen retired. But him and Thomas Davis both signed a one-day contract with the Panthers, effectively retiring as Panthers. And that's it. Greg Olsen, please, we love you. Please stay retired. You're not doing the same things anymore, my man.
It's time to go back to broadcasting.
Yeah, go back to broadcasting. I liked him as a broadcaster. I thought he was fine.
Yeah.
I had no issues with him.
Yeah.
Obviously, the big one that happened today out of nowhere, Drew Brees, man. Drew Brees, done. Hanging him up. I mean, obviously, we can go on and on about what Drew Brees has done for the game of football, what he's done for, the city of New Orleans, the team itself. But I want to leave anyone that knows Drew Brees or cares about Drew Brees with this is that he's a good player. He's a good fucking football player. And I'm talking about top 3 quarterbacks of all time.
Mm-hmm.
What he's done for the game of football is beyond anything that I think anyone would have thought when he signed with the Saints in 2006?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Let me look it up.
But I think it's crazy how one player, one signing can do for either, not just the league, but like an entire franchise. I mean, he won them a Super Bowl. That's fine. It's great.
15 years ago today. So
15
that
years
would
ago
be
today,
06.
I mean, he leads the league history in passing yards, and I'm pretty sure he also leads in the league passing touchdowns in regular season as well. So, I mean.
So, actually, this is the 15-year exact mark from signing with the Saints. So he chose today.
Yes, I saw that today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually, that's pretty symbolic, but.
So less out of nowhere than you originally said.
But what's that?
Less out of nowhere than you said to start this.
Yeah, I guess
it was planned by him.
I didn't really think about that. Yeah. Well, because it was just weird because I had heard a lot of talk that he was considering coming back and like all that kind of stuff, but it must have just been from the rumor mill. I don't know, but
we talked about it in multiple podcasts. I think me and Drew really got into it in the sense where we thought, if he was going to retire, he'd do it before free agency, which technically he did, but I thought it'd be a lot sooner than now.
Yeah, this just reaffirms to me that he knew he was going to retire after that game. Because if he was unsure about retiring, whether or not they could, bring back a team that could in fact win the Super Bowl, he obviously would have waited. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But he knew. He was like, you know what? No, let's just.
Well, we talked about it again and again. You're right. He knew, and maybe he was completely unsure. He wanted to see a couple things where they left off, but in the long run, he knew it was time. And like you said, I respect him so much as a quarterback, what he's done for the NFL, what he's done for New Orleans, and what he's done for his team. It's just an outstanding career.
Well, hey, you know what? Just crazy to think that out of 3 quarterbacks that the Chargers could have had, they got Phillip Rivers, not Eli and not Drew Brees. They had him, but they let him go. They got Phillip. So suck on that one, fucking Chargers fans.
Did you ever hear the story of how Drew Brees left the Chargers? That was wild.
He got hurt or something like that.
He was hurt the season before, and they were basically like, yeah, dude, you're bad.
Yeah, you suck. Yeah. That was liquid. Yeah, and then, Phillip Rivers. So, All right, well, let's finish out our NFL news with, I guess, our big free agent signings. Obviously, the 3 that I have down are all re-signs, but signings nonetheless. Cam Newton, 1 year, $13.5 million. Fucking kill me. Do I like the signing? No. No, I'm not even going to try and sugarcoat it. Do I like it for the money? Especially not for the money. Hell no. It makes Aaron Jones signing for $48 million in 4 years look like a fucking piece of cake.
Fuck you, Drew, for getting Aaron Jones back. But God damn it, do I hate this Cam Newton signing.
Let me preface this here, though. Cam Newton is not going to start at quarterback for the Patriots this season.
What? Okay.
Yep.
13.6 mil with $9 million incentives in a $5 million base salary, but he's not going to start.
Right. But what you just told me is $9 million in incentives. You really think Bill Belichick either A, is going to let him reach those incentives, or B, Cam Newton is even going to reach those like himself. Do you think Cam Newton's even going to reach $9 million in incentives on a contract when last year he threw 8 total touchdown passes? No.
Yes.
Hell no.
Because
I don't think so.
that's where you're completely wrong, though, is they do not trust Jarrett Stidham, though, yet. And if they did, they would not have re-signed Cam Newton.
But
One.
you
Two,
didn't.
they would have let him start more games last
Drew
season.
Drew knows the issue of that statement because I never said Jarrett Stidham was starting for the Patriots. Ever.
Okay, that's very fair. That's a very
I
good
still
point.
think they go out and get another quarterback. It doesn't make sense to me why you bring in so much competition for literally every other position on your team, and then you don't do it for quarterback.
So
He's gonna bring in competition. He has to.
From where? Free agent signing or the draft?
Probably free agency, the draft, and possibly a trade. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do because this is uncharted territory for what he's done. You can take a look at what he's done on defense, what he's done for wide receiver, and all that kind of stuff, and he has trends. He has no trends for quarterback because his starting quarterback for the past 20 years was Tom Brady. He has no trends in quarterbacking. So you don't know what he's going to do.
We'll talk about this on garbage time, but I can promise you there's no way it's off the draft because he has a draft pick sitting as his backup quarterback right now, who they didn't even let. I mean, they let him out on the field, but they could have easily picked him up to be your starter, and they just did not.
So they also had 2 draft picks that sat behind Tom Brady. Both of them went undefeated as draft picks, and then he traded them both.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he clearly can pick quarterbacks that know how to win. If Jimmy Garoppolo didn't get hurt, I mean, let's not forget, he was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
You can't put that on him, though. He didn't have a great season to get there.
He had a pretty good season. He had a pretty decent season. So, and, not that Jacoby Brissett is anything special, but, he did have a pretty decent start with the Colts, and then obviously got benched, and he got hurt and then got benched and all that other stuff. But he played perfectly fine for the Patriots when they beat the Bills like 40-0.
So that's my issue.
Without Brady for 4
years. Is that they haven't let Stidham really get a crack at it like they let Garoppolo and Brissett.
Right, but that's the thing is that they had to. They were forced into doing that. They weren't forced into doing that this season. That's why Belichick hasn't done it. Belichick clearly doesn't like Stidham. That's just plain and simple. He's gonna draft. He's gonna draft someone in this draft. He's not gonna draft them high. He never drafts quarterbacks high ever. There's never been a trend for that. So it's just not gonna happen.
We'll see.
Let me tell you why I think that. Okay. 2 seconds. We're going to move on to the NBA after that.
Because you suck.
He traded Marcus Cannon for a 4th, a 5th, and a 6th round pick just today. Not only that, the Patriots received, I think, 3 or 4 compensatory picks. He's going to pick a quarterback. With all those picks, why would you not pick a quarterback and go for it? Do you mean to tell me he's got like 13 picks and he's not going to at least pick one quarterback? That's asinine. When he has no good quarterbacks on his team, he's not going to pick a quarterback. But anyways, let's move on to the NBA. All right. I think the biggest story out of the NBA, obviously right now, is the Myers Leonard story going on. I mean, that obviously came out of nowhere, but the dude was on Twitch. He was streaming, right? I believe he was doing some Twitch stream or whatever.
He's been banned indefinitely from Twitch as well.
He'll get back on. I'm sure he will. But again, something like this, stupid. I'm glad that Julian Edelman, reached out to him and did all that kind of stuff. But he suffered $50,000 in fines. He has a week suspension. He's going to, I believe, like sensitivity training and stuff like that. I don't know what word he used. Most likely starts with the D, but we're not going to get into that. I just think it's crazy that, it's 2021. Everything you do is basically being watched. So,
especially if you're streaming,
especially if you're on your own Twitch stream, you're like, yeah, I could say that word. I'm sure that's great. Yeah, really stupid move on his part. I hope he learns from it. whatever, move on. In other news, Joel Embiid is out for at least 2 weeks. Doctors said it was some sort of sprain, I think in his like quad or something like that, but it wasn't anything serious, but he's going to be out for at least another 2 weeks, which gives the Nets a chance to catch up. They're only half a game behind. So, I mean, I would just assume at this point, it's the Nets, the Nets conference to lose, especially with MVP Embiid out. So, the
bone bruise and knee for
bone
Embiid.
bruise and knee. Okay, well, so not anything serious.
Mhm.
Something that's going to heal on its own.
Mhm.
But again, it's a big
Out
blow
for 2
to the
weeks,
76ers, who are again on top of their conference right now, but only by half a game. Let's move over to the West. The Jazz, they still have less than 10 losses. They still have not even they have not reached the the double-digit loss threshold, which is insane because I remember talking about this 3 weeks ago and they were still at like 8 losses and they've only lost 1 game in the past like 2 weeks. So I get NBA All-Star break is a thing, but
16-2 at home.
yeah, they're insane. The Jazz are I think the Jazz are playing above their pay grade. I mean, I still think it's the Lakers conference, but like the Jazz are playing the best basketball out of any team right now. I mean, it's just plain and simple.
Now, granted, though, that's over the last 10 games, they're 5-5. So realistically, they were.
The Jazz are 5-5 in their last 10.
Yes. So 5 of those losses just came from the last 10.
Shit.
Yeah.
So they were even better at the start than I thought they were. Holy crap. But anyways, again, yeah, they're coming down to earth a little bit, which is expected, but they still have less than 10 losses. They're sitting at 9. They still have less than 10 losses, and they're 5-5 in their last 10. That's insane, especially for a conference that should be dominated by both LA teams. But whatever. But like I said, the Jazz and the Sixers both leading their conferences right now. The Jazz, I believe, if you have the standings up, Chris, you want to double check this for me? But I think the Jazz have like a 2.5 game lead or something like that. And the
76ers have
a half game lead. I know that.
Have a half game.
Yep.
The Jazz have, give me 1 second, 2.5 game lead.
So I was spot on.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's move on. I'm really just going to only talk about this a little bit. This is really James' forte. Obviously, today's Selection Sunday, so we're going to go into some March Madness before we get into the NHL and MLB. So, like I said, today was Selection Sunday. The entire bracket is ready. It's out there for your, for your consumption, public viewing. I'm just going to give you the number 1 seeds of each, I guess, division. Are they divisions? Regions, bro. Okay, I don't care. I'm not a college basketball person. I am trying my hardest. But Chris will pull up the bracket. I mean, if you want to go over every team, but there's like 64 teams, so please let's not do that. Let me just go over the number 1 seeds. So in the West we have Gonzaga, East we have Michigan, South is Baylor, and in the Midwest we have Illinois. So I feel like going through a lot of our sports meet content and talking with a lot of people that watch college basketball, I don't think there's any surprises here, especially not with Gonzaga going 26-0 this season. However, I looked into it a little bit, and it looks like Gonzaga is going to have a really tough time going through their portion of the bracket. I think there's a couple of really sneaky good teams in like the mid slots, like a 6, 7, 8. So this is not the show. If you love college basketball and you want more info on that, this is not the time. I'm just giving you the basics. So again, like I said, Selection Sunday was today. Those are your 4 number 1 seeds. Moving on, we're going to the NHL. Nothing crazy. Again, NHL news. Nothing too crazy. Gonna have just your division leaders. So Scotia North, we have our Toronto Maple Leafs. Mass Mutual East, still the New York Islanders. The Honda West, we got the Vegas Golden Knights, and the Discover Central, still the Tampa Bay Lightning. So no changes in that. I do have to say, though, the Islanders are 9-0-1 in their last 10, and they are just demolishing this division, which is insane because 6 out of the 8 teams are within, I think, like 5 points of each other. So I don't know. It's been tough as a Bruins fan because they're 4-4 and like they're 4-4-2 in their last 10. They're doing awful. But again, this is the division that is, again, compared to the division that the U.S. men's soccer team was in 2014 Division of Death, I believe. Yeah.
Well, it just shows. I mean, it literally goes to show how hard this division is because the Bruins were in first 10 games ago. And they have dropped down to second to last in their division, in that East division. And that's how brutal it is.
Mm-mm. They're fourth.
Yeah. Oh, wait. You're right. Fourth. I was looking at it wrong.
Yeah, they're not. If
They're
they
fourth. They dropped from first to fourth in their division, though. That doesn't change the fact that that's how brutal. I mean, you have the Islanders who are on a tear. Capitals and Penguins are literally neck to neck. And Capitals are 8-1-1 in their last 10.
Well, one of those
Penguins
losses
are
was
7-3,
Bruins, which is good. So that's a good sign. At least the Bruins get something there.
But and Penguins are 7-3 in their last 10. So we have, starting with the Bruins, from bottom four top four, they have their last game was a loss. The Penguins are on a 5-game win streak. Capitals are on a 4-game win streak, and the Islanders are on an 8-game win streak. That's just fucking ridiculous. It's nuts.
Right. I understand that. However, in defense of the Bruins, they have yet to play the Sabres at all. They have not played a single game against the Sabres. They've had the Flyers number all season long. They still play the Rangers, which is good, obviously. And they've been splitting. They've been splitting series. They have the series split, I believe, against the Capitals. They've only played the Penguins either once or twice. I'm not really sure on that. The only team that's really given them any problems is the Islanders. The Islanders are right now the team to beat, and I think they're the team to beat in the NHL too. I mean, 9-1-1 in your last 10. Matt Barzal is on a tear. It seems like everything that went wrong for them last year, especially in the bubble, is going right now. So it's been crazy, but we don't have much for the NHL. I mean, there's just games going on.
Actually, real quick on the NHL, this may have changed from when you wrote this, but Discover Central now has a new leader, and it is the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah, they must have just won their game. That's probably why.
Yes, so they're also on an 8-game win streak. So they came out of nowhere and just really blew the Lightning out.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say nowhere. The Panthers, the Hurricanes, and the Lightning have all been vying for that spot. But I believe it's because the Lightning have less games played than both of them. So I think that's why it's kind of been mixing back and forth, is because they've had less games played. But I could be wrong. Yeah, but I mean, the Central Division is a sneaky good one too. But let's not forget, again, you have a team like Detroit, a bottom-feeding team in that division, where other teams that are playing them are just feasting on what a terrible team they are. So, I mean, again, these divisions are not really a good way, or the rankings right now are not really a good way of telling you which teams are the best, or at least I don't think they are. Because to be quite honest with you, the North, the Maple Leafs are good, but they're not division winning good. Sorry, not happening. They're not. I mean, they barely made a number 3 team 3 years in a row when they were in the Atlantic, because you have teams like the Lightning and the Bruins, and I mean even who else was in that division? I mean, even a team like the Canadians. I mean, they're sneaky good right now, but I think that's because they're in such a weak division, because you have a team like Ottawa, and Vancouver has been terrible. So I mean,
Well, yeah, but isn't that the case even when the divisions are normal? I mean, the Atlantic Division had
No. Because
the Atlantic Division had Detroit and Ottawa in it.
right, but
What's
you
your
have to remember that they're only playing teams inside their division this year.
right?
That's not the case in other
Okay.
years.
Fair.
So where the Bruins would play Detroit maybe 6 times and get, go 5-1, all those games get wiped because they don't play Detroit anymore. Instead, they have to play teams like the Capitals, the Islanders, the Penguins, the Rangers. So that it's just a significant increase of talent that they have to deal with. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay, instead of playing Boston and Toronto, has to play Carolina and the Panthers. Like, the Panthers are not that good. I'm sorry. They're just not that good. They're a good team. I think they've made steps in the right direction, but they're not that team. The Panthers, the Hurricanes, yes. I think the Hurricanes are there. But again, they're getting a boost from who's in their division. I mean, I'm sorry, but is Chicago really that good, Drew?
No.
They're really not that good. It doesn't make any sense to me. The divisions are what they are. They're playing each other 8 times a year. So, I mean, you're guaranteed to so many wins against, a Buffalo or a Detroit, But when you get matched up against both New York teams, Pittsburgh, Philly, the Capitals, it's just, there's a lot more weight behind it than if I'm looking at, Edmonton. Like, yeah, Edmonton was a decent team in the Central last year, but they're not this, they're not this good, But we'll move on. It looks like you guys have been writing some MLB stuff, so let's hop right into MLB. Either you guys go ahead and take it.
So,
okay.
Our first bit of MLB news, I think we'll start with the fun bit of news, is that ridiculous 22-pitch walk that Mets infielder Luis Guillorme was able to walk in the spring training game against the Cardinals today. That man, I've never seen so many foul balls in my life, and I've never seen people cheer harder for foul balls. That was a wild experience to watch. Didn't throw ball 3 of that at bat until the 20th pitch. The at bat started 0-2 and lasted 22 pitches and ended in a walk.
That's ridiculous.
If that's not one of the greatest at bats ever taken by anyone, ever.
Well, I think the funny thing is, you mentioned, like, you've never heard people get so excited for like a foul ball, but like the long at bat, like that probably took like 15 minutes, probably.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a 12-minute at bat.
Like, that's ridiculous.
But I mean, you got people cheering for foul balls at like the 10th pitch, 11th pitch of the at bat.
I know. Imagine
the
20.
21st pitch.
I know.
Like,
ridiculous.
Good God, I've never seen anything like that in my entire life.
Well, I mean, you know what? It's honestly kind of cool, and like I told you, and I'll tell you guys, we're gonna get that up on our Instagram so you guys can check it out. I'm sure you're listening right now and you've seen it. You know what we're talking about. If you haven't, we're gonna get it up for you. So hang tight. All right, what's next, boys? What do we got?
Retirement news in the MLB as well. The NFL is not the only one with old people retiring. Nick Markakis, after his 15 years of service to the league, mostly with the Orioles, recently with the Braves, has called it a career. Fun player to watch, especially being a Red Sox fan. Got to see a lot of them in Baltimore. Just an electric dude, really, really helped the clubhouse. Great personality. Gonna be sad to see him go. Was still playing some pretty decent baseball with the Braves, but definitely could tell he was tapering off towards the end of the career.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes you have the luxury of knowing when you're about to hit the cliff and ride off in the sunset before you do. I mean, Peyton Manning didn't really have have that luxury of winning a Super Bowl before he really tapered off. I mean, he was not good in his last season.
Yeah, they still won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but was he the reason why they won that Super Bowl, Drew?
No, but Nick
No.
Markakis has never.
Von Miller, my man. Von Miller had a hell of a season, but no, I mean he was their quarterback and they won. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. And like, but if you really look at stats, break it down, and even give it the eye test, no.
But I mean, Nick Markakis could have Peyton Manning's here. I mean,
he could have
in a very good position to win a
that's true
unpredictable NL East. And
no,
they have a very good shot at making a run at the trophy this year. Just got to get through the Dodgers. That's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Well, I remember. I mean, it was years ago, but I fucking hated him because every single game I went to, Red Sox played the Orioles. He was always smashing those doubles almost every time, and I was like, "What the fuck? How does this guy hit a double every single hit?"
It's funny that
he tore it up on that field.
It's funny that almost all the Red Sox games that you went to are against the Orioles, because almost all the Red Sox games
weird.
that I've been to have been against the Rays.
Really?
Yeah.
The first 10 Red Sox games I went to against the Orioles.
Jesus, that's crazy.
It's wild, but yeah, that's another story.
I don't remember the Red Sox games I've been to, honestly.
You went to a Rays game with me.
I did. That's true. I went to a Rays game that had nothing to do with the Red Sox in Tampa Bay, but that's different.
Yeah, you're less likely to find the Red Sox there and very likely to find the Rays there.
Well, not necessarily true. Spring training, baby. But
all right.
Chris, I know you got a point you want to talk.
Huh?
I said it looks like you have a point. Would you like to talk about it?
No, I made my point. I mean,
no, like you physically.
With Nick Markakis, obviously, I mean, last year was hard with the Braves. You know, less games, and like Drew said earlier, he's definitely dwindling down a little bit. So maybe it's time, but he had a good career.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but I was physically talking about what you wrote down in the notes about the Red Sox, not about Nick Markakis.
Oh. Dude, I thought you were just.
We've talked enough about Nick.
No, I was like, yeah, like I saw you have another point. Like, not like I could tell if you wanted to say something. Like
I saw you have another point for what we were just talking about.
Yeah, no.
The Red Sox, the young talent is looking very hot in spring training. 4 straight wins in spring training. More just seeing people out there and they look good, which is hard to come by for the Red Sox, especially in spring training. We had 2 home runs today, I believe, from Rafi Devers, which I'd still consider young talent, and Christian Arroyo, I believe, when they were against the Twins. I just had it. But Nathan Eovaldi played today, hit 100 miles an hour. A couple other pitchers were throwing 95, 96 for the Red Sox. So I believe Martin Perez threw 96. So, I mean, it's definitely looking up and coming for the Red Sox, which is a good sign to see.
Yes.
But it's spring training. This means nothing come opening day. So.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess, you know, as a sign of good faith, it's, hey, the farm system doesn't look as bad as Dave Dombrowski left it.
Well, it's
possibly.
I mean, spring training also offers a kind of weaning opportunity for, like you said, the young talent to play up in the big leagues with big league players and kind of get used to the speed of the game and kind of ease into it a little bit. So it's definitely promising that a lot of the players that, as you said, we've been left in a situation by Dave Dombrowski where there's going to be a lot of young players starting on this team. This team is going to be comprised. It's going to be a very Tampa Bay Rays-like team now that we're under Chaim Bloom's rule.
Yeah.
It's going to be plug and play. It's going to be, you know, farm system talent. Bring them up as soon as you think they're ready, trying to time the arrival. And I think they'll be able to do it. This is a good sign so far. Anyways.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, you know, you have the coach now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Cora, we're going to see how it goes because, I mean, you got to think about how much of that World Series you're attributing to, what was going on, but a lot of it came down to the talent and his coaching ability. So I think that him as manager is definitely going to be a recipe for success. I think he's a player manager. Everyone loves him. So it's going to at least give the right aura to the team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, you all know me, not a baseball fan, but, they won the World Series in 2018. They haven't been good for 2 years. And, this is it. This is the rebuild right here. So we're going to see what they do. I wish them all the best. Obviously, being a Boston sports fan, want to see them do good. I think it's time for them to be a likable team again. If that makes sense. Like, yes, they won a World Series in 2018. But, they haven't been a likable team, I feel like, since 2013. I mean, the World Series was great. It was good fun to watch. I was like, all right, cool. Like,
it's not the same. Yeah.
But 2013, they were a likable team because they were fucking amazing to watch.
Well, 2013 was different. 2013 had its own special set of circumstances.
I know.
2013, the players that were on that team had a special chemistry. I mean, you're only going to find that once a decade.
I know.
It's literally once a decade because we see the same team in 2004.
Well, yeah, once a decade, and I'm not even talking about just once a decade per team. I'm talking about once a decade per league.
Exact win.
That group of dudes that started the whole fucking ski goggle beard thing, that was amazing. That was an incredible group of dudes that went out and won a championship for their city that was going through a tough time.
Johnny Gomes.
Johnny Gomes.
Shane Victorino.
Oh my god.
I'm just saying.
Hawaiian.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just mentioning that 2013 team, all three of us are I don't like baseball, but I'm enjoying myself talking about just that team specifically. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be like that, but it's time for them to be a likable team again.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like they were very likable when they had Benintendi and Betts and Bradley, and they were doing the outfield dances and
right. They were. It wasn't the same, however, but let's not forget, all of that's now gone.
Right.
Not in a good way. It was destroyed because of what we were left with after we won the World Series. I don't think at the time anyone was 2 years from now we're not gonna be a contending team. I feel like most people were we might lose some pieces here and there, whatever. No one thought we were going to lose Mookie Betts at that point. After the World Series, I mean, come on.
No. And I don't think that we needed to be honest.
No, I don't think anyone did.
And
especially the fucking Dodgers.
Could still have Mookie Betts right now.
Shit.
But
because LA needs 2 MVPs.
And 2 Cy Young winners. And
the state of California.
They still just barely won the fucking World Series.
Yeah. So, the state of California right now, the state of baseball in the state of California right now, unmatched. It's
how are you supposed to match it?
Nobody has a bigger wallet.
Making are just fucking ridiculous.
No, I understand that, but it's not even just the Dodgers.
The Padres.
Not even that. The Angels. They still have Mike Trout.
The Angels suck.
The Angels suck, but they still have big name players like Mike Trout. Oh my God. Who did they steal from you, Drew? Shit.
Oh, Anthony
Rendon. They still have Shohei Ohtani, who's yet to really prove himself, but he's still a name that's polarizing in baseball.
Yeah, the Angels suck.
You don't even have to compare the Angels. You just need to compare the Dodgers and the Padres.
Yeah,
and look at the deals that they have made. And it's how do you expect a team to compete with that?
Junior is the future of the league. I mean, that's just plain and simple.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but that's a piece that they already had. I'm talking about the fact that they went out and got Blake Snell. They went out and got Yu Darvish.
So stupid.
Yu Darvish is playing some of the best baseball of his career right now.
Literally the best.
You know what it's like? In backyard baseball, when that one team would end up with Pablo Sanchez, the Wheeler kid, and all the top 10 people. That's how California is right now.
Yeah, and I mean,
You
like
just have them all on that side.
Let's
That
just be
goes-
like, oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
that goes straight into the issue of baseball not having a salary cap and not putting any holds other than a luxury tax on putting together super teams.
A freaking
Well,
luxury tax.
That's
That's it.
why I've always said that the Dodgers are the Yankees of the West Coast. They just go out and buy a bunch of superstars, develop one or two good players, and win the World Series once every 10 years nowadays.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, let me say one more thing before we move on to our next segment here. All right. Conspiracy theory. The Chargers San Diego sent the Chargers packing so that 2 years later they could purchase Blake Snell. Check it.
Okay, nice
Sold the
conspiracy theory.
Chargers for Blake Snell and Yu Darvish.
They're like, yeah, we want to be a baseball town, so
Yeah, get outta
Not
here.
build you a new
Hey!
stadium. We're
Yeah.
planning on signing some free agents later.
yeah, like 3 years
Sorry.
later.
We actually want you to share a stadium with another team. Good luck with that.
We're actually going to start charging you more money to play here.
If you were San Diego, would you rather have Phillip Rivers or Yu Darvish and Blake Snell? I mean, it's just
Well,
who would you have?
Phillip Rivers for that long after that. So
If you're
Yeah,
San
yeah,
Dang
yeah,
it!
yeah.
All right, let's move
could have
on.
got through the Phillip Rivers era.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, well, let's move forward.
I mean, if you're living in San Diego, do you really care about sports?
thank you for tuning in to the BOTA News. Let's move on to our next segment. Yeah, I don't know how to introduce this one again, so I'm just gonna go for it.
I can already tell you you're
Chris,
wrong
when's the last time you debated yourself there, buddy?
last week, but Matt, welcome to Master Debaters. Come
Pause.
on and debate
Pause.
with
Pause.
these masters.
Pause. You gotta pause. Okay, cool. Well, I wrote this question down, so I will introduce it, and then I will let you two debate until the sun rises.
Did you just want me to do the title?
Chris, I just want you to master debate in front of me, baby. Matt Milano and Aaron Jones both signed 4-year deals around the same price point for it was like $44 million for Matt Milano, and I believe it was $48 for Aaron Jones. So, we're looking around the same AAV. Which player would you rather have for their price point? What's wrong?
Oh, I'm good.
Oh shit! You scared the shit. I thought you were gonna die or something.
Yeah.
So which player is better for their price point? Would you rather have Matt Milano on that deal or Aaron Jones on that deal? Master debate away.
Aaron Jones, no question.
Oh, see, I'd say Matt Milano.
And there's the debate.
He did not have, compared to his 2019 stats, Matt Milano's 2020 stats were not amazing.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't need his stats to be amazing. I need him to be Matt Milano.
But again, you know what? That's why I wanted to bring this up with you, because I completely agree with your whole Aaron Jones thing, in the sense where I think that Green Bay had a lot of better options and they didn't have to re-sign him.
Well, I don't think that this is really a discussion of the Packers wanting Matt Milano versus Aaron Jones, or the Packers having better options. This is more a discussion about who is the player that you'd rather have for that price point.
Correct.
I don't think Aaron Jones is a complete enough player to warrant that kind of money. I love him. He's great. He does a lot of things for the team. He also makes some very critical mistakes pretty consistently. That fumble to start the third quarter in the NFC Championship game this year, killer. They could have come back and won that game if it wasn't for that play, and a whole lot of others, but that's okay. But that's one of the big contributing factors when you want to come out after halftime and try to, take some semblance of control back for the game, and you fumble on the first drive. That's not good. I don't know why we re-signed a running back that fumbles in those situations to $12 million a year, but here we are. Matt Milano at least is a consistent defensive player. We don't have many of those either, so I would like Matt Milano.
Scotty Miller.
Fuck you.
I see
We
where
don't
he's
talk
coming
about things
from.
that happened in the vicinity
I
of
think
Kevin
the
King.
one of the things is though is we don't focus on defensive players per se messing up. It's two hard things to compare, I think. I think this is a very difficult question to compare. You
I'm
don't
sorry, hold on, Chris. We don't focus on defensive players messing up. Kevin King.
I'm not saying
Can
yeah, we've singled one out.
we not go off
Like
on like a month's rant of Kevin King? Drew has buried
I
that
mean,
man 5 times over.
how many running backs can you name that have ever fumbled the ball?
Ezekiel Elliott 25 times this season. Jesus fuck. What?
So
Most running
the point
backs.
I'm
All
trying to
running
make
backs
is
ever. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis never
you
fumbled the
don't
ball.
really
Has fumbled
focus
the
on
ball once in his
defensive
career.
players messing up consistently. And I agree with you that Matt Milano
Yeah,
is a very
yeah.
consistent defensive piece. But I still go for Aaron Jones here. I think the running back market is very high.
Which is why I think that Aaron Jones doesn't command as much value as he just has. I think that there are better, more complete running backs out there that make only slightly more than that. And I can't justify paying that much for Aaron Jones. No. I don't know.
Would you guys like to hear my side here?
Let's hear it.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't really think this is going to be as much of a surprise, but obviously I agree with Drew. And again, not to be rude, but in the fact that, yes, Chris, the running back market has a lot of running backs on it. I mean, look at a guy like Chris Carson. He got released by the Seahawks. I mean, he's expendable. Running backs are expendable. Generational talent running backs, maybe not. Okay, I'll give you a Derrick Henry. I'll give you a guy like
Christian McCaffrey.
Alvin Kamara. What's that? Christian McCaffrey. Right now.
Mm-hmm.
But in 3 years, maybe not. You know, I mean, look what happened with a guy like Adrian Peterson, Le'Veon Bell. I mean, those were names, that were, top tier running backs that 3 years, 4 years down the line, where are they?
Well, Adrian Peterson continued to be very productive, even in his time in Washington, with the limited catches that he was getting.
Yeah, that's fair.
Still good. And even in Detroit, he had some decent flashes. So, I mean, he's a special case anyway. He's a generational talent, like you were saying. It's
right. But like even as a generational talent, he didn't put up generational numbers for those other seasons with other teams. I mean, obviously with the Vikings he did, but I mean,
right. But that's when he was
Bell.
past his prime. Aaron Jones is still in the prime of his career. It's
right.
A 4-year deal is that the length is fine. If you wanted to sign him for 4 years, that's fine. He'll still be in the most productive years of his career, one would think.
Okay, so
the money.
Here's the question. Obviously, we have the face value of the contracts. It's obviously 44 for Matt Milano. I believe it's 48. Now, obviously with total money being said, these deals could be different really when you look into them a little bit. I mean, you could have Aaron Jones making less money per year than Matt Milano, but have more in incentives. And I think really looking into something like this is, obviously, I should have probably put like the incentives and all that kind of stuff down, but I wanted to kind of go face value on it to see where we were at.
To do it. I think we have to.
Oh, I agree.
Who would you rather have for $12 million a year?
Right, and I think I personally would pick Matt Milano because you don't have defensive players, like especially at the linebacker position, are a premium.
Yeah.
They're a premium. I mean, yes, you draft quarterbacks high. Yes, you draft wide receivers high. But I mean, like, just take a look at all the wide receivers you from the past 3 years that were drafted later than the second round that have been good. I mean, you don't need to really do that, but defensive players are really at a premium. I mean, it's tough to find a good defensive lineman or a middle linebacker really that can hold his value. Matt Milano has done that. I mean, he's only gotten better as the seasons have gone on, and I think that warranted him his contract. And I really think that, I just think that looking down the line, the production drop off for a linebacker versus a running back is significant. I think in 4 years, we're going to be looking at Aaron Jones like we did, like honestly, like almost like Le'Veon Bell, LaShawn McCoy, like how that happened for them. It happens to every running back. I mean, it does. I mean, except for Frank Gore, but that's Frank Gore. So
I mean, Aaron Jones will be fine. He's not
he'll
going
be
to be
fine,
bad.
but
He's not going to
no,
hinder the team. Really, he's an okay piece to have there. Just
No,
not
but-
for that money. Not when there are other options.
right. I
And
understand.
Matt Milano, I feel like, is more of a universal piece. He could be used in a lot of different offenses or defenses, and it'd still be consistent. Aaron Jones, when you ask him to do too much pass catching, starts dropping things. When you ask him to run the ball in important situations, we know what happens.
Right.
But
right. But again, I agree with you, Drew. I think that, but like I said, I think that looking at the contracts themselves on face value, obviously the money for, both of these guys. I mean, as a Patriots fan, paying $2 million for like Devin McCourty for 10 years. Obviously, I don't want to pay any. That's obviously not the price point, but I'm just making exaggeration for a point. Like it really depends on where you come from as a fan. I mean, obviously for you, there whether or not you want to say it, there's a little bit of bias, obviously, with being able to watch his game versus only seeing Matt Milano playing a little bit. Like you're not really seeing him play the full spectrum, but and like for me and Chris, like Matt Milano was on Buffalo, so we saw him play a little more than you did. I don't think did the Bills ever play the Packers this season?
This season, no.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like you watched a Packers home game or a Packers away game and you saw him play an entire game. You get a little more, a little more insight on that. But to counter that as well, you also know how Aaron Jones is, and you would rather have a player that
It's not Aaron Jones.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, you'd rather have a player on the defensive side of the ball that can really quarterback your defense, something that your team needed.
Yeah.
But again,
someone to stop the run.
Yeah, or also, make running backs fumble the ball at the beginning of the third quarter in the NFC Championship. So, but I agree. I think Matt Milano is probably the better pick at this price point. I think for me, it's going to be production drop off. We can come to this conversation in 2 years and say, oh, well, Matt Milano got hurt and retired, and Aaron Jones is, still having 1,200-yard running seasons, So, anything can happen. It just, again, you look at trends, running backs tend to drop off. I mean, how old is Aaron Jones? 26?
Yeah, something like that.
All right. So he, that 28-year running back season's coming up. I mean, that's usually the threshold. Or is it right? Am I wrong on that? Or is it 28 or 27 or 20? It could be 26. I don't remember. I know there's a certain year where running backs tend to just hit the wall and start going down in production. But
I mean, he's only been in the league for 3 years, so I don't think we have to worry about that again in the next 4 years. I think he'll be fine for the next 4 years.
right.
Just don't want to pay him $12 million each year for the next 4 years.
Yeah, hell no. I don't blame you. I really don't, especially when there's other options at running back, and that's another.
But AJ Dillon would have been so good.
Right. So you could go out and get a guy like James White for probably like $5 or $6 million a year, and he's gonna be a better pass catching option than Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
And again, I think a lot of it is teams are really going with like a 2-back set rather than having a workhorse. I just think it's the way that the league is going. I mean, obviously Alvin Kamara is a workhorse, but he also split the time with Mark Ingram, and they both had 1,000-yard seasons. So it's not unheard of, to have a workhorse, but to also, split the backfield. But I just think that it's becoming more commonplace to have a split backfield. The Patriots
but if they have James White, they still have AJ Dillon. That's a split backfield. That's fine.
No,
Can I bring up my argument?
Oh.
Okay.
Anyways, well, Chris, if you want to go ahead and go to your point, go ahead. But then we should move on to the trash bag because we're getting close to an hour.
All right. Real quick. When you bring up the 2020 stats, Aaron Jones is 4th in yards for all running backs in the NFL, right? Matt Milano is not even in the top 50 for linebackers. That's it. That's all I need to bring to the table. But if we want to keep going,
for what?
Again,
for linebackers.
For what?
For what? Stat?
Solo tackles, interceptions, all of them. He's not even in the top 50. Hold on. Let me go back to that. IDP. But it brings up your solo tackles. It brings up interceptions, assists, sacks. So he is not even in the top 50 on lineups.com. Aaron Jones is ranked 4th for yards last season. My point is there are players that are in the top 50 for linebackers or for defense, like Malcolm Butler, Kyle Van Noy, players that have gotten cut and are now free agents, not even traded, cut. And if someone like in the general area with Aaron Jones, like David Montgomery, who's 5th, Jonathan Taylor, who's 3rd, Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs, all those would get a lot more money and they'd have to be traded per se, or get a big amount chunk instead of being just cut from their team, like Kyle Van Noy or Malcolm Butler. Aaron Jones is more valuable because the running back is more valuable.
Well, no, you're talking about guys that are getting cut because they're 29, 30, 31 years old and making way too much money. Aaron Jones isn't going to get cut because he's 25.
See, I still disagree with that, though. If you're putting up top 50 points, if you're putting up, let's see, what do we have here? Malcolm Butler had 81 solo tackles. Matt Milano only had 45, 35. Like, it doesn't even come down to that because
comparing two different positions, Chris, because the cornerback, first of all,
yeah, you're right. I can't bring cornerback. You're right. So let's find a linebacker.
Because cornerbacks usually don't have that many tackles, so that's insane.
Huh? Let's go to.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying, like, the fact that Malcolm Butler had 81 solo tackles and got cut still, which is bizarre. They should have restructured. I mean, he's a tackle machine, clearly.
Don't forget that Matt Milano missed like 6 games last year. So.
Also fair.
I know that's a big thing I'm bringing into this because he had over 100 in 2019.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
I know. But if we're basing him off that, I still think that the running backs are just more powerful altogether than defensive players.
Running backs are a dime a dozen. Linebackers are very hard to find.
It's much easier to run a successful running back by committee, cobbled together running back room than it is to run with discount line.
I mean, honestly, hell, even look at the Packers backfield last year. You had Aaron Jones, but if Aaron Jones wasn't producing, they put Jamal Williams in, and Jamal did just fine.
Yeah. Even AJ Dillon.
He's a product of the offensive line that's been put in front of him because the Packers, quite frankly, have a top 3 offensive line, if not the best offensive line,
and a Hall of Fame quarterback.
I mean, yeah, but that's, you know,
you're going to tell me that Aaron Jones didn't benefit from the passing action and the switching of tempo.
Yes, that I agree with. What I'm saying is, like, you know, when he's got the ball in his hands, his downfield ability and all that kind of stuff is all him and the offensive line. You know what I mean? When he's got the ball in his, like, all the other stuff, yes. I was just going to say, like, when he gets the ball and is running towards the offensive line, that is a product of his offensive line because, you know, the other 2 running backs in the system have had that as well, and they have thrived off of that as well. So if it was, you know, yeah. So
Jones is fast, he's quick, he's agile, which is great, but so is James White. He can also catch a lot better. And I'm cool with AJ Dillon just running people over instead of Aaron Jones running around people. That's way better.
Yeah, that's fine. But
I want James White back on the Pats. He does not need to leave.
I love
that man. Does not.
He wanted to come to Green Bay too. I'm so mad.
Was he?
Yeah, he went to college in Wisconsin.
Oh wow. He would have been an amazing addition to the Packers.
Was he on the
team? James White is truthfully one of the best catching running backs out there.
Oh, he's a phenomenal pass catcher.
Yeah, he's still top 5. I mean, he was hurt all last season, so I mean, you can't really base it off of that. Yeah. The season before that, he was perfectly fine. The season before that, he was phenomenal. Let's not forget the Falcons season. The season they beat the Falcons. He was probably the sixth best running back in the league at that point.
Point being, I'm gonna hate to see that man leave.
You know, receiving wise, but yeah, whatever. I mean,
Dak's just giving up.
I'm honestly about to change teams. I mean, that's beside the point. But I just
all right. We gotta head on to trash bag.
Let's move on. That was masturbators. We're gonna put that question up for you guys. Which player would you rather have? Matt Milano, Aaron Jones, 4 years. Let's split the diff for $46 million. I mean, one made 44, one made 48. It's really not all that much different. So split the diff, 46 mil. Which player would you rather have at that price point? I mean, obviously, the two people wearing BOTA sponsored stuff said Matt Milano, so it's pretty official. The other person who's not wearing BOTA sponsored stuff didn't. So that kind of sucks.
You did not just go there. You did not just go there.
Anyways, let's move on to the trash bag. Trash bag of the week, sponsored by, also not sponsored by, Glad Force Flex. Welcome back, the Super Glad Force Flex. So I'm going to start off. My golden trash bag of the week goes to Chris for not being able to pick up his BOTA jersey. So that sucks.
I did not even know they were in, to be honest.
Yeah, that's really sad because I texted everyone and I
posted
everyone
pictures.
Let's bring this.
And Chris, and Drew posted pictures. So I really
Okay.
don't.
Can we interrupt you? Have I been active via text lately? No.
It doesn't sound like our problem.
No.
You can remove
fuck you guys.
You can remove from text and that would still be a valid statement.
Fuck you. Why don't you come see my place and bring it to me?
That's a long drive.
By place, I mean butthole. Come on.
I know. All right. Well, let's start off. I really almost read this as Meyer Lemon. So there you go. So Meyer Lemon in the Glad Force Flex bag of trash bag. No, Myers Leonard. Myers, is it first name Myers? Did we go over this already? Myers Leonard. Yeah, dude. You can't be using anti-Semitic language on Twitch. Yeah, it's in the community guidelines. I mean, I feel like that's a given. Apparently the Green Bay Packers are in the trash bag this week, apparently, for signing Aaron Jones. I don't know, which is kind of weird. Did you write that, Drew?
I did.
Yeah. So it's a little weird to write the Packers in the trash bag when you liked the signing, Chris. So don't really get that.
I didn't say I liked the signing. I said okay. I agreed with Drew that I much would have had them pick someone else up instead of paying that money for Jones. I completely agree with what Drew was saying in the sense where Aaron Jones was someone that they could have went off. Huh?
That's basically what just happened there. Somebody else, Aaron Jones, Matt Milano, all the way down. That's basically what just happened. All right. Well, next up in the trash bag. I'll agree with this one. The Saints for not being able to give Drew Brees at least another ring. I don't really know what else to say about that one, but losing to the Vikings like 3 years in a row in the wild card round doesn't really do you any good. So sorry, Drew. Drew Brees, not you, Drew. All right, fair enough. Also, Kyle Rudolph, aka Saints killer, or Stephon Diggs, aka Saints killer. Like, just keep naming players. All right, well, yeah, we also have Matt Milano in the trash bag for also signing a deal for no reason. So let's just shit on players for signing deals because they don't deserve their money. All right, cool. Matt Milano for being shit at his job, says the guy who can't make a tackle.
Ooh, weird time to glitch
Matt
out
Milano
on.
has 100 at least in one season.
Did you just say I can't make a tackle either? Is that what you said?
I mean, yeah, if you want to read the tape.
I have a picture of me tackling you in Patriot Place. Do I have to bring that up?
You have a pic.
I believed I tackled you straight to the ground. I have a picture of it. Don't you worry.
For all of you out there, Jesus, I can't speak today. Yeah, that's not true. It doesn't have that. There's no evidence. He's gonna bring up the evidence. Zach for being tackled. All right, yeah, Zach straight in the trash bag, bro. Whoever the
Straight in
Zach
that
person is,
fucking trash
whoever this
bag.
Zach person is, he fucking sucks because he got tackled. I don't know who he is.
Dude,
I mean,
Zach
you know,
would
good
suck.
old Soggy Boy will find out who the Zach person is. But
Zach would
anybody,
sucks.
anything else for the trash bag, guys? Oh no, let's really throw into the trash bag, dude. Fucking Rona, because it got our boy James. All right, let's put coronavirus in the fucking bag because James has Rona. We are all very sad. We are all praying for him in our own weird spiritual ways, I guess. I don't know. We just, it sucks. We want him to be better. Hopefully he can.
We hope
get on the
James
farm.
stays safe
Yep.
and recovers nicely.
That's
Yep.
2 out of 4 of us that Rona's gotten.
Yeah, but he's, the one above, I guess technically above me in my picture, but Drew recovered. So let's make it 2 for 2 on recovery, please. If not, that means no more free beer for me, which sucks. So. Yeah, that's right, James. That's all you are, bitch. Is free beer.
That is all you are.
That's all you are. Good for a fucking sit and spin and a fucking free beer. All right. Well, anything else from us, boys? You got anything else, Drew, Chris? Anything else?
No, I'm trying to find a picture of me tackling you.
All right. Well, if you can't find it in the next, 2 minutes while I sign us off, then it's going to be very unfortunate. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the BOTA Show. As always, we are the BOTA Boys, BOTA Sports. I'm Soggy Boy. I got Drew whipping his hair back and forth like Will Smith. Chris,
I whip my hair back and forth.
Chris has got the Mad Widow's Peak right now. Look at that shit. Holy crap. Look like Prince Harry.
I look like I have a receding hairline because I do. At
No, sorry,
26
Prince
years
Charles.
old.
Which is the one that's married to Kate? Anybody know?
Kate Upton, Justin Verlander.
Okay. Anyways, guys, you know where to find us. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Also Spotify twice, because I don't know. I said Spotify twice. I felt like it. We are on Anchor. We are also on YouTube, guys. Please check out our YouTube channel. We have tons of content there. You can see our beautiful faces and our beautiful merch that we are currently wearing. And we will be wearing throughout all of our episodes. Chris, I love how the picture he brings up is just us posing like high school football players and not the actual picture of me supposedly being tackled.
I don't think I have it, but
Crazy.
Sam does. I'm gonna find this picture and I will post it on the socials.
Well,
I think it was Prince Edward, by the way.
No,
Huh?
Edward and no, I don't think it is.
I think
I'll
Prince
figure it out. My
married
girlfriend's
to Meghan
obsessed with
Markle.
the royal family, so I'll ask Tom. But anyways,
Look it up right
like I said, thank you for tuning in. For Drew, for Chris, I am the Soggy Boy. We will see you bright and early, I believe, tomorrow morning, or sort of if we go live.
6 a.m.
For garbage time. Get ready, boys and girls. I hope you're buckled up. It's the Patriots episode, so it's gonna be good. It's gonna be real interesting. But like I said, and also shout out to James for missing a podcast. You fucking slut. We miss you, baby. Feel better.
We love
Signing
you.
off. Adios, peeps.
Stay yabo.
Bye.
James, only James. James, stay beautiful, all right?
Stay yabo.
You stay soggy.
Stay yabo.
Soggies. It's got to connect to the server. All right, we are starting to record. Beautiful. Everybody got the notes up? All right, we're very chatty today.